self-employed. They fall into this side of the quadrant. So he says 95% of people fall into this side of the quadrant. You know, I think that's probably a pretty fair assessment. Most of the people that you meet every day are either employees of a company, they work for someone else, or they're self-employed, they work for themselves. But do they really work for themselves? I mean, is there anybody in here that's a business owner, runs their own business? I know I was for a little while. I gave it a shot, and it was more work than I wanted to do. Too many hours. I thought Starbucks was a lot of hours. No, that was a lot of hours. That was too much time. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Most people that you meet are either employees or they're self-employed. 95% of the people, but only 5% of the wealth. Now don't tell me there's something wrong with that. 95% of the people and 5% of the wealth? That doesn't make any sense at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So over here, you've got business systems and the investors. Now, investors, in order to be an investor, what do you have to have? What do you have to have in order to be an investor? Lots of money, that's right. How do you make a small fortune? Start with a big fortune, that's right. So I don't want to talk about them too much. I want to talk about this right here. This is the B-type system, B business, as we call it. And that's what life represents. That represents an opportunity. So let me give you an example of an opportunity. I'm going to redraw that a little smaller over here, because I wasn't done with it. I just got all fired up about erasing. Alright, so 95 and 5. 95% of the people, 5% of the wealth over here. Over here, you've got 5% of the people. A little basic math. How much of the wealth? Anybody? That's right. 95% of the wealth. So, there's only 5% of the people over here. The 95% of the wealth. Well, I want to be over here.
Yes.
There's something else that Robert Kiyosaki talks about that I meant to bring up just a second ago. What do the people on this side of the cash flow quadrant, what do they do to make money? What do they trade in order to make money? What do employees do when they go to their job every day? Clock in. They trade that time for a paycheck. They trade that time for money. So, there's only so many hours in a day. You know, Bill Gates has got the same number of hours that I do. Ray Kroc has the same number of hours that I do in a day. But these guys have got it figured out. They made money and lots of it. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Well, the difference is this side. Instead of trading time for money, I want to get my time back and have money. That's what this side of the quadrant represents. So how do you do that? Well, that's where life comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So life has found an opportunity. Here's the example I was talking about. Say that the city of Columbia has a water reservoir. And for whatever reason, the water here in Columbia dries up. It's gone. There's no more water within the city. But, I'm going to draw some pictures here, because I'm kind of visual. It helps me figure out what I'm trying to say when I draw some pictures. This is Columbia. Happy little Columbia. I'm no artist for sure. This is Columbia as well. It's empty. But down here, you got the Missouri River.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's an opportunity here. The well's empty. The people of Columbia need water. What do? Well, you can build a business to meet that need, to meet that opportunity. That's what you got to have in order to have any kind of business. You know, no matter what it is that you're selling, whether it be rubber eyelashes or silk and pantyhose or, you know, whatever it is, you've got to have that opportunity. Without that opportunity, there's no need to be met. There's no reason why people would want to be involved with your business, right? That's just basic. So, one way you can meet that opportunity is to draw silly pictures. One way you can meet that opportunity is you get some people together. This is my bucket. And you make a business out of carrying buckets of water from the river back to Columbia. That's meeting the need, right? You're charging the city of Columbia by the bucket. or by the hour, or whatever works. And they say, okay, great. So after a while, you get tired of carrying buckets, and you say, well, you know what? I'm going to pay somebody else to do this, and then I'll charge the city more. Seems like a good idea, right? That's a basic principle of business. You charge a fee, and then when you get to a certain point, you hire some employees and pay them and charge more of a fee because you've got a bigger business. You've got to charge a little more to sustain that operation. So get some more people together. Maybe if you've got a family and you want to have your own business, you don't want to be involved in somebody else's business, you say, hey kids, we're going to go haul some water buckets. Sounds like fun, right? And you're hauling buckets back and forth. Well, okay, that's one way to get it done. But there's a better way. There's a much better way. So what if somebody else comes along and says, you know what? I see you suffering, working hard, carrying these buckets, spending all your time, and the city of Columbia is paying you for your water, but you don't have any time left. And you're still struggling. Let me help you. Let me show you what we can do together. Instead, let's put together this pipeline. And so every night after you finish hauling buckets, you go back out and you start digging some trenches and you start laying some pipe. And people along the way, yeah, they're going to laugh at you, say, what are you doing? I'm hauling buckets, I got my cash in hand, I'm going to go home and do what I want. Well, you're out here digging a ditch. That doesn't sound like any fun, but it's about the result. It's about all that effort coming together to finish a pipeline. So you've got a pipeline now, and all you got to do is turn it on, and the water starts coming in. City of Columbia is paying you by the bucket. Now all you got to do is sit there and collect on your buckets. Well, these guys are still carrying buckets in the hot sun. Sounds like a better way to go to me, right?
Yes, sir.
So, what the Life Leadership Company has done is they have taken not one, not two, which business professionals will tell you in order to have a successful opportunity, you've got to have intersection of two industries that are also successful. And if you take the intersection of two industries that are successful, you can create a third industry that will be very successful. So they've taken not one, not two, not three, but anybody? 4 successful industries. I mean, look at this. $400 billion in the personal development, self-help industry. That's huge. That's a lot of money. Life coaching, $1.5 billion. Home-based businesses, $100 billion industry in home-based businesses. And then community building, Facebook. Can anybody even put a value on that? Can you even think about what kind of industry that is? So we're taking all of these industries and we're going for what they all have in common. And so Chris and Oren have found